Hi, in this presentation, I'm going to explain the specificity, effectiveness, and feasibility of reducing protectionist policies in Australia as a way to reduce the cost of living pressures. So, first and foremost, I think it's pretty important to understand exactly what cost of living means. This is just the amount of money required to sustain a certain standard of living. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, is just a technical term for inflation, and combined with real income growth can be a useful measurement for this. Currently, the CPI is at 7%, and the last time inflation was this high was in 1990. This combined with real income growth currently being at 2% are evidence that cost of living is a problem right now. Policies for cost of living should be aimed at either improving the real wage or reducing prices. Housing, fuel, and food are disproportionately large contributors to the increase in CPI, but since increased prices in fuel are largely due to geopolitical concerns, it's unfeasible for the government to implement a policy as a long-term solution to this. Also, policies to improve the situation around housing prices are already being implemented, so it would be less effective to put more resources into solving this. Improving the supply of food, however, which is an equally large contributor to inflation, is within the Australian government's control. An easily implementable policy to combat this would be removing protectionist policies around agriculture and food, such as the remaining tariffs, subsidies, and trade barriers. This is because the Australian agricultural supply chains will need to be able to compete with international producers to continue operating, meaning the cost of doing business and trade would be minimized and innovation would be promoted. This will result in an increase in productivity and efficiency, giving Australian households the lowest possible prices. Also considering that Australian agricultural producers have the fourth highest comparative advantage worldwide and highest in the Asia and Oceania region, this means they're already in quite a good position to compete against international producers, and reducing protection shouldn't harm their profits too much. It should only force productivity growth, therefore reducing price pressures. Reducing tariffs, subsidies, and trade barriers in agriculture and food industries will improve competitiveness, reducing inflationary pressures on food and therefore cost of living pressures. Since Australia has already reduced the protection of domestic industries over time, this is a very realistic policy, being both specific and feasible. Thank you for listening to this presentation.